The rain tasted like ash. It always did in this part of the city. I pulled my fedora lower, the brim shielding my eyes from the relentless drizzle that slicked the pavement of Duck Street. My name's Jack Rourke, and I'm a private investigator, not the kind with a fancy office and a secretary. Just me, a bottle of rye, and a knack for finding trouble. The trouble I was looking for tonight was a woman named Lila Moreau, a singer at the Velvet Curtain, a nightclub with a reputation as dark as the alley I just navigated to get here. She's also the reason a nervous dockworker named Frankie thinks Ferretti paid me a grand to find her. Frankie claimed she's gone missing. A simple missing persons case, he said. But Frankie didn't tell me Lila was mixed up with some very dangerous people. The Velvet Curtain was a cavern of smoky haze and the mournful wail of a saxophone. The scent of cheap perfume and desperation hung heavy in the air. I flashed my investigator's license to the burly doorman, a man built like a brick wall with a face to match, and he grudgingly let me through. The place was packed, a kaleidoscope of faces bathed in the dim glow of the stage lights. I spotted the bartender, always an old man with a permanent sneer. "Lila Moreau," I said, sliding onto a stool. "She's your girl." The bartender wiped down the counter. His eyes narrowed. "Don't know her. Frankie Ferretti sent me," I said, dropping the name like a stone. His expression didn't change. "Frankie's a good kid. Doesn't frequent places like this. He's worried about her," I pressed. "Something's wrong." He finally relented, leaning in close. "Lila had a disagreement with Mr. Volkov last week. Big disagreement. Volkov, Dimitri Volkov, a name that sent a chill down my spine. He controlled the docks, the rackets, and most of the dirty dealings in the city. Getting mixed up with Volkov was a one-way ticket to oblivion." "What kind of disagreement?" I asked. "Money," he whispered. "She owed him a lot of money." I thanked the bartender and started working my way through the crowd. The music was hypnotic, the laughter hollow. I felt like a predator circling its prey. I found a waitress, a young woman with tired eyes and a forced smile. "Lila," I asked, "where can I find her?" She hesitated, glancing nervously over her shoulder. "She's backstage," she whispered. "But don't go back there. Volkov doesn't like visitors." I ignored her warning and pushed past the velvet curtain. Backstage was a labyrinth of dressing rooms, props and shadows. The air was thick with a scent of sweat and fear. I found Lila's dressing room. The door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. The room was a mess. Clothes were strewn across the floor, makeup was smeared on the vanity, and a single overturned chair lay on its side. But Lila wasn't there. A glint of metal caught my eye. The small silver compact lay on the floor. I picked it up. Inside I found a photograph. It wasn't Lila. It was a man. A man I recognized. Senator Harrison Caldwell, one of the city's most powerful politicians. Caldwell and Lila. What were they doing together? Suddenly, I heard a voice behind me. "Looking for someone, Mr. Rourke." I turned to see Dimitri Volkov standing in the doorway. He was flanked by 2 hulking bodyguards. "Just admiring the decor," I said, my hand instinctively moving towards my holster. Volkov chuckled, a low, menacing sound. "Lila is a complicated woman. She owes a lot of people money." "She was working for you?" I asked. "Let's just say she was helping me with a little business," Volkov said, his eyes cold and calculating. "Senator Caldwell was involved, too. A mutually beneficial arrangement." "What kind of arrangement?" Volkov smiled. "Let's just say the senator has a weakness for beautiful women and a penchant for gambling. Lila kept him entertained, and he, in turn, provided incentives. It was a blackmail scheme. Lila had been caught between a ruthless gangster and a corrupt politician, and now she was paying the price." "Where is she?" I demanded. Volkov shrugged. "She's gone. Ran off with a few things. A little something to start over." I didn't believe him. Lila wouldn't just disappear, not without a trace. "You're lying," I said, my voice low and dangerous. Volkov's smile vanished. "You're getting too close to something you shouldn't, Mr. Rourke." "You hurt her," I said, taking a step closer. One of Volkov's bodyguards moved to block my path, but I sidestepped him and lunged at Volkov. A brief, brutal fight ensued. I managed to knock out one of the bodyguards, but the other was too strong. He slammed me against the wall, knocking the wind out of me. "Leave it at that, Mr. Rourke," Volkov said, his voice dripping with menace, "or you'll find yourself sleeping with the fishes." I stumbled to my feet and limped out of the velvet curtain. The rain was still falling, washing the grime and desperation from the streets, but the feeling of dread lingered. Frankie Ferretti was waiting for me in his car. "What happened?" he asked anxiously. "She's gone," I said. "Volkov has her." Frankie's face pale. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to find her," I said, "and I'm going to bring her home." I knew it was a fool's errand. Taking on Volkov was like staring into the abyss, but I couldn't turn back. Lila was in trouble and someone had to do something. My investigation led me to an abandoned warehouse on the city's waterfront. The place was deserted, but I could hear voices coming from inside. I crept closer, peering through a crack in the wall. I saw Lila tied to a chair, surrounded by Volkov's men. Volkov himself was pacing back and forth, talking on the phone. "She knows too much," he was saying. "We need to take care of her." I knew I had to act fast. I burst through the door, drawing my gun. "Let her go!" I yelled. Volkov turned around, his face contorted with rage. "You again?" A firefight erupted. Bullets flew, shattering glass and tearing holes in the walls. I managed to take down a few of Volkov's men, but they were too many. I was pinned down, running low on ammunition. Suddenly, the door burst open again. Senator Caldwell stood there, flanked by a squad of police officers. "Freeze!" he shouted. Volkov and his men were taken into custody. Lila was freed. "What are you doing here, Senator?" I asked, my voice laced with suspicion. "Let's just say I had a change of heart," he said, his eyes averted. "I realized that some things are more important than power." I didn't believe him, but I didn't have time to argue. The police were taking Lila away. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely audible. "Don't thank me," I said. "Just stay safe." As the police car drove away, I looked back at the warehouse. The rain had stopped. A single ray of sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating the scene. I knew this wasn't over. Volkov would be back. The senator was still a threat, and Lila was still in danger. But for now, I had done what I could. I had brought a little bit of justice to a city drowning in corruption. I turned and walked away, disappearing into the shadows. The rain would fall again, and so would the trouble. It always did.